These are the 9 worst motorsport accidents ever captured on live television. Moments so violent, so sudden, so heartbreaking that millions witnessed them in real time, and the world stopped breathing. Cars launched into crowds, helmets ripped off, fireballs are tearing across the track. And as this list goes on, the crashes don't just get worse, they get truly catastrophic. Number 1 will shock you, and it's worse than the previous ones. 9. Jules Bianchi. The crash that changed Formula One forever. He was young, talented, fast enough that Ferrari itself wanted him. Jules Bianchi was never supposed to be a backmarker. He was supposed to be a future world champion, but on one storm-filled day in Japan, everything changed. The 2014 Japanese Grand Prix was already dangerous the moment it began. Torrential rain hammered the circuit. Visibility was almost non-existent. Cars were skating on water, aquaplaning at terrifying speeds. Nobody was fully in control, only surviving. On lap 43, Adrian Sutil crashed at the Dunlop curve. Marshals rushed in with a recovery tractor routine in F1, but the track hadn't improved. The rain kept falling. And on the very next lap, Bianchi approached that same corner at over 130 km/h, still fighting the car's grip, still trying to keep control. Then it happened. His Marussia snaps. He slides off, but he doesn't hit the barrier. He hits the tractor at full speed. The car dives under the vehicle like a missile, the impact peaking at 254 Gs, a number almost impossible to believe. His helmet shatters on impact. Marshals freeze in shock. The radio goes silent. Rushed to Meade General Hospital, Jules remained in a coma for 9 months before passing away in 2015. His death was the moment F1 finally realized that rain, speed, and heavy recovery equipment on track were a lethal combination, and the sport would never be the same again. 8. Stefan Bellof. The overtake that should never have happened. Spa-Francorchamps, 1985. A track notorious for danger, and a driver known for being faster than fear itself. Stefan Bellof, a man who set a Nürburgring lap record so insane it stood for 35 years. At Spa's 1,000 kilometers endurance race, he was locked in an intense duel with Jackie Ickx, both pushing their Porsche 956s to the edge of physics. But Eau Rouge, that mythical deadly corner, has no mercy. Bellof goes for a bold overtake, diving inside Ickx. For a breathless moment, it looks perfect, until their cars touch at over 180 RPM. Ickx is sent spinning up the hill, smashing into the barrier shaken, but alive. Bellof isn't. His Porsche is launched sideways like a missile, slamming into the guardrail at devastating speed. The chassis explodes into pieces, the car erupts into flames, and marshals sprint in desperation, but they can't save him. Stefan Bellof, one of the most naturally gifted racers in history, was gone at just 27. 7. Marco Simoncelli. The crash nobody saw coming. The 2011 Malaysian MotoGP was only on lap 2, barely into the race, when Marco Simoncelli lost rear grip mid-corner. Normally, the bike would simply slide out. Not this time. The bike regains traction violently, catapulting him back into the racing line directly in front of Colin Edwards and Valentino Rossi, both approaching at over 120 mph. There's no time to react. Simoncelli is hit head-on by both riders. The impact rips his helmet clean off, something that should be mechanically impossible, and the crash site becomes instantly silent. No movement, no sign of life. For 45 desperate minutes, doctors tried everything. They couldn't save him. MotoGP retired his number 58 forever. 6. Dale Earnhardt Sr. The last lap impact that shattered NASCAR Daytona 500 2001, the grandest stage in American racing. Dale Earnhardt was a legend, the Intimidator, a man who finally conquered Daytona in 1998 after 20 attempts. But on this day, he wasn't chasing victory. He was blocking, protecting his son, Dale Jr., and his driver, Michael Waltrip, who were running 1 and 2. Last lap, turn 4. A light tap from Sterling Marlin, a tiny misalignment at 160 mph. Earnhardt's car snaps right and slams into the wall with a deceptively small impact, one that didn't look deadly on TV. But the inside forces were catastrophic. A fatal basilar skull fracture. Dale never climbed out. The motorsport world lost an icon. NASCAR safety changed forever because of him. 5. Ayrton Senna. The moment the world stopped San Marino, 1994. The darkest weekend in Formula One history. First, Barrichello nearly dies in practice. Then Ratzenberger is killed in qualifying. The paddock is already shaken and Senna feels it deeply. On race day, Senna lines up on pole, determined to win and show respect with a victory lap flag for Rowland. The race begins with another massive crash immediately. Debris everywhere, safety car deployed. But when the race restarts, Senna pushes because he always did. Lap 7, Tamburello. His car suddenly veers off at 190 mph, heading straight toward the concrete wall. The impact is brutally violent. Suspension pieces tear through the chassis, and one strikes Senna's helmet. Trackside doctors fight to save him. The world holds its breath. Hours later, the news breaks. Ayrton Senna, perhaps the greatest to ever touch a steering wheel, is gone. 3 million people filled the streets of Sao Paulo for his funeral. 4. The 1955 Le Mans disaster, the deadliest day in motorsport history. Le Mans, June 11th, 1955. The grandstands are packed, over 300,000 spectators. Nobody knows they're about to witness the darkest moment ever captured in motorsport. On lap 35, Mike Hawthorne brakes hard to make his pit entry. Lance Macklin swerves to avoid him. Pierre Levey arrives behind them at impossible speed. He has nowhere to go. His Mercedes hits Macklin's car like a ramp, launching into the air at full speed straight into the crowd. The car explodes on impact, the magnesium body igniting into a white-hot inferno. Debris slices through spectators like shrapnel. The engine block, over 400 pounds, is thrown into the stands, crushing anyone in its path. More than 80 people died, with over 120 injured. Yet unbelievably, the race continued to avoid mass panic. It remains the most catastrophic crash in racing history. 3. Tom Pryce. A split-second tragedy. South African Grand Prix, 1977. Renzo Zorzi's car catches fire. 2 young marshals run across the track, one carrying a nearly 40-pound fire extinguisher. The first makes it. The second hesitates just a fraction of a second. Tom Pryce appears at 170 mil d'honneur, blind to the marshal behind Hans Stuck's car. He has no time to react. The impact is immediate. The marshal is killed immediately. The fire extinguisher slams into Pryce's helmet with unimaginable force. His helmet shatters and his car continues down the track with nobody steering. 2 lives lost, 1 mistake. One of the most haunting crashes ever aired on TV. 2. Gilles Villeneuve, betrayal rage, and a deadly qualifying lap. Gilles Villeneuve was a fan favorite, loyal, fearless, and fast, even when the car wasn't. But in 1982, that loyalty was shattered. During the San Marino Grand Prix, his teammate Didier Pironi ignored team orders and stole the win from him on the last lap. Villeneuve felt betrayed. He vowed never to speak to Pironi again. 2 weeks later, at Zolder, qualifying became personal. Villeneuve pushed harder than anyone, desperate to beat the man he once trusted. His tires were fading, and he was driving on pure fury. Then he approached Jochen Maes on a slow lap. Maes moved right. Villeneuve moved right at the exact same moment. Their wheels touched. Villeneuve's car launched skyward, spinning, flipping, and tearing apart midair. He was thrown from the wreckage, helmet ripped off, body landed in the catch fencing. Doctors tried, but the injuries were too severe. Gilles Villeneuve died that evening. A legend lost, a family broken, and a son who would later win a world championship in his honor. 1. Swede Savage, the crash. He survived. But the hospital didn't. Before you see this final story, understand this. This wasn't just an accident. This wasn't just a fireball on live television. This was a crash so violent and an aftermath so tragic that the driver actually survived the impact only for something far worse to take his life. This is the story that proves motorsport danger doesn't end when the flames go out sometimes. The real disaster begins after. The Indianapolis 500, 1973. A race cursed from the start delays, rain, crashes, and chaos. Swede Savage was running brilliantly, a rising star, a fan favorite, the kind of driver who could dominate the race if fate allowed it. On lap 58, fate didn't. Exiting turn 4, his car suddenly snapped sideways at nearly 200 mph, sliding violently toward the inside wall. The impact detonated the car like a bomb. Fuel everywhere, and the entire car burst into an inferno. But the unbelievable part? Savage was alive. Moving, conscious, rescuers dragged him from the wreck as millions watched the flames towering into the sky. Doctors said he'd survive. He had broken legs, but he was stable. 30 days later, he was gone. Not because of the crash, not because of the burns, but because of a contaminated blood transfusion at the hospital. A simple human error that ended his life. A mistake outside the track did what the fireball couldn't. One of the most tragic endings in motorsport history. These were the 9 worst motorsport accidents ever broadcast on TV. Moments that shook the world, changed the rules, and scarred the sport forever. Behind every crash is a lesson. Behind every lesson is a legacy. And behind every legacy is a driver who risked everything for speed.